by West Bloomfield Parks and Rec Supervisor Chris Fray. We're going to talk about the ways in which he has worked with his team to oversee all of the maintenance and recreation of the West Bloomfield Parks. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Chris.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So, Chris, let's begin with your role in West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation as the supervisor and a little bit about what either your day-to-day looks like or what you've been up to in 2021.
Sure. I am the park supervisor. So I oversee the daily functions of the crews that work in the parks. We have multiple different crews that are doing multiple different things all day, cleaning parks, opening parks, mowing turf, working on fields, softball fields, soccer fields, hard surface courts like cricket, tennis. We have building maintenance folks that take care of our buildings. We have a mechanic that works on our equipment. So we're always doing a lot of things every single day of the week.
And then you've been working for West Bloomfield Parks for over 20 years. Tell us a little bit about how you began there at West Bloomfield Parks and how your job has shifted throughout the pandemic.
Sure. Before I came here, I owned a landscaping company, a small little landscaping company, and knew I wanted to do something a little bit in the same field, but in the public sector. So I came over to West Bloomfield Parks and worked my way up to the role that I am in now. I was hired here to cut grass over 20 years ago. It was a small department. There's 8 full-time park staff now. We have 12 to 15 seasonal staff that come to us in the summertime when it's our busy season. So that's pretty much how I got here.
And then as we go into the winter season, there's a little bit of snow on the ground, but we want to maybe get into those sled hills. You also are in charge of the snow removal there. Tell us a little bit about what the winter season and the snow means for you and your staff at West Bloomfield Parks.
Sure. We have 2 sled hills that are closed currently, but they're set up and ready to go. We fence them off for everybody's safety. We have return aisles so people can walk back up the hill. So they're up and ready to go, but they're currently closed. When we get enough snow, when the conditions are right, we'll open them. We post on both sled hills that they're open. It's always posted on our website whether they're open or closed, or you can always call our office to find out if they're open or closed. There's one behind the library at Civic Center Plaza, and there's one here at Marshbank Park where I'm at. And yes, we also do a lot of snow removal in the park system. We plow all of our parks and sidewalks. We have room rentals and classes going on in our buildings, so we have to keep those safe for the pedestrians. We use a lot of liquid salt or a lot of liquid salt brine, which is basically just salt water. We're trying to be a little bit greener every single day that we're here. We are a park system, so we're trying to be green. So we're trying to use a lot less salt. About 6-8 years ago, we introduced our liquid de-icing program, and it's working out well. We manufacture liquid brine here at the shop, which is just, like I said, a mixture of salt and water. And we put in our trucks and we spray it on the ground instead of putting down rock salt, which can be a lot more harmful to the environment than the liquid salt. So we do a lot of snow removal. We come in early, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, just so we have everything open and ready before our classes start and our employees get in. So we're always on call. We're always here doing our work.
And then, Chris, with the Michigan weather, obviously you've seen everything in your past 20 years here, but do you see a difficulty with the Michigan weather and the snow coming and going quite frequently in those winter months with the park maintenance?
Yeah, it's a constant battle. I feel like I watch a lot of weather in the wintertime. Around October, November-ish, I'm always watching weather during the day on the computer, my phone, watching the local newscasts in the evening, trying to figure out when the snow is going to come and when it's going to be done with. If it comes early enough and folks are still here in the parks in the evening, we have to come back after we go home. We have to come back and do some work in the evening, or depending on what time it starts snowing and what classes and things we have in the morning, I have to call folks in the middle of the night to come in so they're here with enough time to get things opened and to actually get from our shop down around the township before the roads get too busy. So we have to get out of our shop and to our lots so that we can do our work before the roads get too backed up with travel. But yes, it's a constant struggle figuring out that weather. Every agency, every snowplow guy has the same problem of figuring out when it's going to snow, when it's going to stop snowing. But it's a lot of weather watching for about 6 months of the season.
And Chris, with the pandemic and the labor shortages that we've been seeing throughout all the businesses and industries here, especially in Michigan, have you guys found it difficult to find people to help you with the maintenance of the parks as well as those snow removals as the snow is coming in this December?
Yeah, definitely. When times were good 6-8 years ago, we would have, like I said, anywhere from 12 to 15 seasonal staff in the summertime. Last year we had 5. This year we had, I think, about 8 or 9. So this year was a little bit better. Last year was definitely our hardest. And with having the fewest summer employees we've ever had last year, our parks were probably the busiest they've ever been. You know, everybody was working from home and staying safe. But a lot of people found out that they had a lot of good parks in the West Bloomfield, and they showed up in bulk. So there was a lot more park usage in 20 and 21 this summer, and we were definitely struggling. I think every year it's getting a little bit harder to find summer help, but we put out signs and banners in our parks. There's information on our website, word of mouth stuff. But yeah, we definitely it's definitely getting harder and harder to find summer help. In the winter months, those folks usually tend to go back to school. So we only keep like 2 or 3 seasonal staff around in the wintertime to help us with snow removal and weekend work, because we're open pretty much 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The parks are always open, and there's always somebody here in the parks, whether they're checking garbages or cleaning restrooms, making sure that things are safe for everybody to come and enjoy the parks. So we're pretty much here 7 days a week, year round. So yes, it's definitely been a struggle with seasonals. Hopefully we'll see some more this summer. But it's been a problem the last few years.
And Chris, as we head into 2022, looking back on 2021 and this year, with the pandemic still ongoing, if you want to reflect on the obstacles and maybe successes that your team has had here in West Bloomfield Parks.
Yeah, well, the biggest one, like we just talked about, with seasonals, with staffing. That's our biggest hurdle in the summertime. We're so busy. We do so much work in the summertime, and we need all hands on deck. So that's been our biggest hurdle the last couple of years. The full-time staff has had to kind of drop what they're doing and do more of the day-to-day stuff that our seasonal staff helps us with. So when our seasonal staff is here, our full-time guys can go do special projects, improve things or replace, broken things. So we've had to tone that down a little bit less and just get back to our main taking care of the park. So they've had to kind of switch gears a little bit and do that kind of work. They've had to, the full-time staff has had to cover a lot more shifts, whether it be evening shifts or weekend shifts, because we're here 7 in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night. So we usually have 2 shifts during the day in the spring, summer, and fall months. And the wintertime, we go back to 1 shift. So seasonal staff and staffing has probably been our biggest hurdle the last few months. And the full-time staff has really kicked it in overdrive and covered all those shifts. And we've been able to have bodies around in the parks and get done what we got to get done. Like I said, hopefully next year we get some more staff, and we'll be trucking right along. But we got to do what we got to do. The parks are always here; they're always open. A lot of people say that they haven't seen any real difference in what we've been doing the last couple of years, whether they didn't realize that we were low on staff, but we're low on staff, and we've stepped it up and been able to keep things going.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Chris.
No problem. Thank you.